Hi there, welcome to a new episode of the Flip the Script podcast with myself, Gwen Dixon from Living Your Best Life Coaching, if I can say that. I'm a sole purpose activator and empowerment coach, particularly for neurodivergent people or brilliant people like ourselves with ADHD, highly sensitive, with people with a purpose and a passion. And today I'm speaking to Marie Temporal. And I'll let Marie introduce herself in a second. Marie is many things. She's a mature student, an art student. She's a bit of a campaigner, and I'll let her tell us about that. She's a mum to two boys, and you can tell us the rest, Marie. So Marie and I have known each other for, we reckon, about 8 months or so now, 8 or 9 months, I think.
Yeah.
If I could do the maths, since last summer. And since we got introduced to one another, we've been on a bit of a journey together. And I have called this episode of Flip the Script Marie's Flip the Script journey from protection to power, because really when you were introduced to me, and you probably had no idea what was going to happen, that's the class of all places. And your friend said, "Oh, you guys need to talk," and off we went. We had a chat from there. And in that place when we first spoke, you were very much, I guess, in protection mode, without necessarily realising that. And so we did a few things, which we'll go on to talk about, and then that's led to the position that you're in now, which is a position of power and influence, which is what we're going to talk about. And you have a subject and a topic that's very close to your heart, that you're passionate about sharing, and through your art and your projects and other things. So we'll touch on all these sort of subjects. So without further ado, Marie, would you like to add to anything, or give us a little bit of an introduction about yourself and what it is that you're passionate about and what you want to share with the world?
Yeah, so like you were saying, when we first met, I was in protection mode. I wasn't being my authentic self without realising it. I was always holding back. I wasn't showing anybody the real me. And because of the experiences that I had had previously, I was also putting up with a lot of crap that I shouldn't have been. And thinking that, I couldn't speak up for myself. I couldn't say to people, that behaviour's not appropriate, or, it's not on. I pretty much just tried to keep everything easy going, and put up with quite a lot. So yep, I've got the two boys. Both boys are autistic, and they are like chalk and cheese. So
the end of the spectrum, as you say, because it is a full spectrum, isn't it?
Yeah, one is quite quiet and reserved, and the other one is bouncing off the wall. Both of them are brilliant, though. Absolutely love both of them. And I returned to college last year before. I was finding workplaces a bit of a challenge. My health then became a challenge. And then from there, at the time, I thought it was the end of the world when I stopped working. Quite lost, because I had worked all my days. But something just triggered inside me, and it was like, right, this is actually your chance to go back to art and design.
Yeah, it's an opportunity.
Yeah. So the thing that I thought was the end of the world was actually the start. Like going through college, I was finding, again, relationships quite difficult. I was the oldest person in my class, which was a bit of a shell shock. So
another challenge, isn't it? Still,
yeah. But yeah, my artwork, I've became, like you say, a bit of an activist. I've found that my line of work is pretty much, if somebody hasn't got a voice, or if I've felt that my voice has been taken from me, that's exactly where I'm going to go. So
express it through your art and through your project.
Yeah. There was one last year, I did a piece, and it was called Invisible Illness, Invisible Me, and it was 2 boxes. One box was gold, and everything in it was really, really pretty looking. And in the second box, it was black, and it was like a mannequin was suspended, and it was basically showing you the two sides of somebody living with a chronic illness. What you see is actually pretty fake, really, because you're masking, you're in pain, but you're trying to soldier through. Whereas the other box was exactly how it feels and how it looks
Yeah.
to people that do know you and to yourself.
Yeah, the real and raw version kind of thing.
Yeah, and I think that seems to be what I do quite well, because from there I did a piece on domestic abuse, and it was a doll's house. So the outside of the doll's house was, picture perfect. It looked beautiful. On the inside, it was absolute carnage, and it had so it was mixed media. So it had like news headings and it had magazine headings about domestic abuse.
The one that had like the voiceover as well, that was really powerful.
Yes,
Yes, that
yeah.
one.
So originally, the doll's house, I did that at home just for myself. College had finished for the summer, but I wanted to keep my hand in.
Yeah.
But then going into the degree, which I'm doing just now, the opportunity presented, you were basically to do a video. Now, digital art for me was, oh my goodness, a
Yeah,
challenge. But that doll,
technology.
yeah, that doll's house became a prop for that video.
Yeah.
So yeah, I ended up writing a bit of poetry as well to go over the top, which again, it literally just sprung to mind. And I've got a project in mind just now that I want to do as well, which is going back into the digital. And it's going to be quite hard hitting, and I think it is going to have to come with a trigger warning, but it's something that's been eating away at me for months now. So it's definitely the one that I need to do and need to get out there. But like I say, it's going to be hard hitting. So, but I think that's something that I've found since like joining up with yourself, is that I'm not scared of that anymore. I used to sit and go, oh, what would the reaction be? And sit and panic, oh, I can't do that, I can't say that, that's going to offend somebody, that's going to make somebody do this, that. And now I'm like, well, tough.
Yeah.
If
Because
it's
I think, from my perspective, when we did so for the benefit of, people who don't know this, you came along, we did a masterclass together, the
yeah,
ADHD Power Masterclass in July, and then you did some WhatsApp voice note support. And I think
yeah,
that unlocked your voice in a way, just even doing those voice notes and expressing
yeah,
yourself in that way over a few days and getting a yes for that from my
yeah,
team. But that opened up something. And then in August, we did the Lionsgate Portal Immersive. So I do
yeah,
7 day immersive experiences. And that one was about taking courageous action. And for you, it was finding your voice and finding, that the kind of means and the purpose to express those difficult things. And as you were talking there, what came to me was like, it's like from pain into purpose, and then the poetry aspect as well, all the P's kind of thing. But it's like you're using it in a positive way as well,
yeah,
to be that positive influence, to be that voice for other people, as you say, that can't express that or are feeling a lot of things that you feel, but have no means of doing that, or that's just not in their wheelhouse kind of thing.
yeah,
And so that was actually very much where you kind of unmasked in a different way as well with
yeah,
your wedding. I remember
yeah,
that being a pivotal moment as well. And again, this was just in a 7 day immersive. It wasn't like a long course or, working for months of deep therapy or counselling or any of these kind of things. I think
yeah,
that's be surprising for a lot of people as well, that when you commit to something, and you did, go all in and commit to that, and you've stuck with that as well. So, there's been ups and downs. We'll chat a bit about that. But yeah, tell us what transpired during the Lionsgate Portal Immersive, and how that helped you to be brave enough to do that, as you say.
yeah. So I think the Lionsgate, I think, is the one that completely changed everything for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I had set intentions, and I think, again, I wasn't sure what I was going to get out of it. So when I was setting intentions, it was like, well, I want a house where we've all got our own bedroom.
Yeah.
I want to have my voice. I want my artwork to mean something. And over the course of that week, I began. It was like every time a problem arose, I instantly had a solution. And if I met a roadblock, rather than getting disheartened and your own woe me, it was a case of, right, that's your answer. Well, where can I pick that apart and find something to come back with? So, and then finding creative solutions to things, whereas before I would just sit there and go, I don't know what else to do. And I think, was it within a couple of weeks? Was it a couple
Yeah.
of weeks? The Lionsgate finished, but
Yeah.
within a couple of weeks, I got a phone call saying that I had been offered a house,
Yeah.
where we're all going to have our own bedroom. Now, to put that into context, that's been something I had been trying to do for 7 years.
Yeah.
And it was
So
never
it's not
happening.
just a
Yeah,
nice to have. It was like a big
it
dream
was huge. It was
realised.
huge. And it was the first time that I had actually sat and set the intention and, here's the goal, but how am I going to get there? And it was pretty much, I'm not taking no for an answer. This is something that I want to achieve. This is something that needs to happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, ended up with the bigger house. We've all got our own bedroom. Everybody's a lot happier. I'm trying to think what else had happened. I think I had connected with,
It was your dad, I think, was it, first of all?
yeah. So there was my dad, and I get number plates. I get messages on number plates, and I was getting songs as well.
Yeah.
And Matilda.
Also your auntie with the penguins.
Yeah, with the penguin as well. So I think you had said the penguin, and I was thinking instantly the only penguin that I could think of was my auntie, and she was my godmother.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
there was that. And I
So
connected
just
with
for the
them
benefit
all.
of people that are listening that haven't watched me or heard me before and don't know, Marie's dad and her auntie and quite a few other her unseen team are in spirit. They're no longer with us in physical. And I think, and again, you can tell me about this. I think you'd sensed them around before or things like that, again, a yes for that, but you hadn't really consciously gone into that or realised that you had a gift for connecting with them. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, that would be fair to say. I know that, so I had always compared myself to my sister. My sister has actually seen them. So
Right.
like at times where she's been having difficulty, for example, she was in having an operation, and when she came round for the operation, my gran was sat at the side of the bed, but my gran had died years ago.
Yeah.
So things like that, I never ever had that kind of connection. So I always felt a bit left out, really, because I was like, well, why is it not happening for me? But I didn't realise that I was getting it via car number plates. I was getting it via songs.
Yeah. So
I
you're
was,
more auditory rather than visual.
yeah.
Yeah.
Then I started having them in dreams as well. So I was getting
Yeah.
messages in dreams, which blew my mind.
Yeah.
And I think you did a guided thing with us where I connected with an auntie, a particular auntie that I had a lot of difficulty with.
I think that was actually on the immersive day, wasn't that? In the one-to-one day that
I think so.
when we were doing the sort of creative things and the kind of genius
Yeah,
flow exercise as well, like the higher self drawing and some of the art things
yeah,
that would incorporate now. And yeah, I
yeah,
remember that as well. And that was maybe about September-ish time, I think.
yeah.
So kind of all falling apart. And
Um,
so yeah, the soul family was extending, your unseen team was
yeah,
extending. And like you say, and you can put it in your own words, but what I remember about that as well, my yes for this was, again, that was somebody that you'd kind of clashed with, I think, because probably
God,
because
yeah,
we are very similar. So we have those like, oh, that person, so that family member's so annoying, and then actually, in retrospect, you go, oh, right, it's because we each other kind of thing.
yeah. Because that, I think there was, so I had connected with them on that immersive, but
Yes.
there was another one that you had done, and I think it was like not a guided meditation, but we were
Yeah,
doing like
activation there.
and she came through in that one, and it was one particular one where they were reaching out their hand,
Right.
and I still didn't know who it was
Yeah.
until the hand came out, and I was like, oh my goodness. But it was like, in my mind, she had basically shown me that the reason we didn't get on was that we were so similar.
Yeah.
So during that whole thing that we were doing, it was a case of, it made me realise that the reason that I've wanted to do my degree since I was about 3 or 4, it was because I was at her graduation when I was 3 or 4.
So she was an influence
She was an
to you.
influence. And yeah, she had quite a strong character as well, which is why we bashed heads.
Yeah.
And
Why
she
you
was,
are who you are and why you're doing what you're doing.
yeah, and it was like she wasn't afraid to say it as it was either.
Yeah.
And it was like, actually, she's really influenced me
Yeah.
without me realising. But the whole thing that we did that day, it was like she was reaching her hand out, and I just remember in my mind that I was sitting apologising to her
Yeah.
and saying, oh my goodness, up until this point here, I did not realise
Yeah. Yeah.
the connection that we did actually have. And
Yeah.
it was like she was smiling, and like she just like gave me a hug, and it was like, it's all right kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it was, I was able to let about 40 years worth of angst just
Yeah.
drop.
Yeah, and that's the amazing thing, because it's like a releasing process, as I say, but like on, not on speed dial, but it's like on steroids kind of thing. It's like
Yeah.
you don't have to go through the reliving every single moment. You can just have that aha moment, or that revelation that
Yeah.
not just like lets things fall into place, but actually lets things fall away as well. And that's, you're letting go of so much stored low vibration that you're holding
Yeah.
on to. And that's what then kind of internally gives you the courage, and gives you the oomph, if you like, the va va boom kind of thing, because actually you've raised your vibration so much, and without having to sit and meditate, or consciously do things, on and you do have to obviously keep topping it up. It's like you can't just do that at one and done sort of thing. But it's so interesting how, like you say, we can do things now. It's like that rapid transformation, and it's just like it happens just as if by magic almost, as long as you are open to it, and you've got to have the, and everybody's got the gift whether they choose to use it or not. You've got to have the belief really, and the faith in your connection, and the ability and the openness to go with it, and not to, because a lot of people, and even a couple of people that were with us on that day, have really powerful connections, but are really, their condition is that they've shut it down, and they've they're a little bit afraid of it, or concerned about it, whereas you were open enough to go, right, this is what it is, and this is our relief. So it's a little bit all like when you talked about at the beginning about what you thought was the end of the world was actually an opportunity. It was that chance, and it was like, this is like another kind of milestone in your hero's journey, almost, of like, oh, I've made this be wrong, and I've made this be a difficulty in all my life, and a burden kind of thing. And having that transformation, that just enabled you to let that go, which enabled you to kind of move forward with other things without consciously, you couldn't have consciously set out to do that. It's just that it happened. So on you go. So what else happened after that then?
So I think we had done another activation, and I connected with Michael, and I know that Michael is quite big in the collective that we've got. Now, Michael for me was a teacher that I had many moons ago, like 20 odd years ago, back in high school, and he died, I think it was a couple of years after I left high school. He passed away, and he was relatively young, but I remember that he was always like one of my favourite teachers. And it wasn't just that he was my favourite teacher, it was like just the type of person that he was as well. He was really gentle, he was really funny, he was really supportive, he was really encouraging. Literally nobody could say a bad word about him. He was just a lovely, lovely guy. And when he passed away, the sheer number of students that turned out at his funeral, like past and present, honestly, it's the biggest funeral I've ever been in my life. Could not believe it. Roads got shut and everything. That's how big it was. He was just.
He was.
Oh, he was a lovely, lovely guy. And like I've always kept him in my mind. I used to do Race for Life for him as well. So like I've always like not forgotten about him really. He's one of these people that you cannot forget about. So we were doing an activation, and somebody was stepping forward and handing you a gift.
Yes.
And I'm sitting there expecting a family member, but here comes Michael, and he handed me a fountain pen. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And it was a fountain pen that he handed. And he basically was saying, what was it he said? It was along the lines of, shout your message and shout it loud. And it wasn't till afterwards, when I left high school, a gift that I gave him was a fountain pen.
Oh, wow.
So I had actually gifted him a fountain pen, and it was like, he's now given me it back. And it was a case of, go and shout your message and shout it loud, make people listen to you. And I remember just afterwards being blown away. I was like, oh my goodness. Even more so the following day, when his brother got in touch and invited me to go and visit a bench that's been put in his memory.
There was something about a bench when you were talking there. I was going, why is bench coming into my mind?
Yeah. And it was like the timing of that. So I hadn't told anybody other than the collective, that's what had came through for me.
Yeah.
So nobody knew. And then there's his brother getting in touch the next day and saying there's a bench being put up in his memory, you know, if you want to go to it, we can let you know where it is, kind of thing. And I was like, oh my goodness.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously the Michael connection and the collective as well. So my Michael was a musician.
Yeah.
An English teacher, but he was also a musician. So and then we get George Michael and
so for those who don't know, the Flip the Script Collective is it's a spiritual development membership group that we're based in. So yeah, if people are interested, the Flip the Script Collective is it's a membership, it's a spiritual development group, it's a sisterhood, if you like. It's a sisterhood at present. It's not to say men are more than welcome. It's a small sisterhood at the minute. And it's that, so I have my Facebook group is the Living Your Best Life Soul Family. So we've got our physical soul family and our extended soul family, our unseen team, as we talk about. And this is like a sisterhood, as I say at the minute, a collective, a gathering of your physical soul family who are on that same spiritual development journey with you. And it doesn't mean to say that spirituality is your only focus. It's not a cornerstone, it's like a foundation, really. It's that's what keeps you grounded, that's what keeps you on path. Yes, for that, when we are having challenges or when we are on our mission, our passion projects, etc. And like you say, because we've got I don't want to say additional challenges, additional gifts of neurodiversity, being highly sensitive and noising, which makes us able to connect fairly easily. If we choose to, we can connect easily to spirit, to something bigger than ourselves. And also we have the challenges of all the streams of information, all our abilities. So because we're highly sensitive and we're able to receive on different frequencies, we're able to we have different gifts with. You talked about you comparing yourself with your sister. We all have these, our clear sentience, which is clear knowing. You've got your clairaudience, clairvoyance, the other one which has escaped me at the minute, which is like you're feeling. Oh my goodness, claircognizance, which is feeling. That's why I call them seeing, hearing, feeling, sensing, knowing, because I can never remember the clearest too much, because we've got these beautiful abilities to remember and forget, so much detail and to hold so much information. And our brains and our minds and our energy can go in so many different directions and hold so much energy. And that's another thing of holding energy for other people as well, that we'll probably touch on that as well.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the collective is that environment where it's that kind of playground where we can test out our abilities and we can share things with each other, do readings or different different modalities with each other and share things that are going on, and also we share the kind of revelations or those things, and that helps you to sort of to document it. And we've also got tools that we use outside of that, like the Flip the Script journal and things like that. It's it's that a group where you can be held and supported and you can lead, so you can sort of take turns to hold one another. And even myself as the leader of the group, if you like, I sometimes do that as well. And it's as a collective, it's not all about it's different from me coming into a master class or that kind of situation where it's like, right, I'm here to teach and lead and share this modality or this type of thing with you. It's like you guys get to do that as well, and that's what develops you as well, not just embracing somebody else's teachings, but actually saying, oh, here's something that I can bring that nobody else has, here's what my unique thing is, and you can develop and enhance that. So like you say, in the collective, we often, some of the ladies are really good with archangels and sharing those kind of messages. So Archangel Michael is, and he had an iteration. George Michael was a bit of an iteration of Archangel Michael on Earth, and shows up for us a lot in music, because we all receive a lot through music, because we're not just auditory, we're able to, we've all got all the different senses and abilities as we have. And also, what that also leads me to go back to a little bit as well is, as you said a couple of times, that the things that have been most painful or challenging for you are actually the things that have been the catalyst, with the help of your abilities and your natural gifts and abilities, your innate talents and your extrasensory talents, if you like, that you're able to transform that, like you said about the black and gold. So it's kind of like that alchemy of turning the base metal into gold, of like, or turning those challenges into treasure, of like, oh, this thing is really painful for me all my life, like you with your alopecia, has now become something that's like sort of campaign for you now. There was an incident that happened, I think last week or so, that that you went on, you again, because now you've set up your Instagram channel, which has blown up with your art last year, that happened around about the time of the Lionsgate Immersive. You now got that outlet, if you like, for expression, when there's something that's on your mind that you feel passionate about. That you don't go on all the time, but when there's something that really moves you and is a catalyst for you, and you think, I have to speak out about this. So would you like to tell us about that, and just share a little bit about what happened there and why that's something to
you? So I'll tell you about why I took the wig off in the first place. Because it's the same kind of thing. So I had been wearing wigs probably about 15 years. 15 years. Although you do get ones that look good, they are uncomfortable, and especially in the summer. Sometimes they're digging in, they make you sweat. They can move about. So when I had Fraser, I was finding that when I was out in public, I wasn't carrying them in case he pulled it off. So there's all these things that people don't think about. They just look and they judge. And
I suppose you might just think, oh, well, you've got a wig, you're good to go. And all the challenges that come with
it. And at the time, I think it's when the Princess of Wales, Catherine, she was going through her cancer treatment at the time. And I remember watching the TV and, looking on social media, and everything was, that's a wig, that's a wig, that's a wig. Oh my God, look at that. Why is she wearing a wig? Blah, blah, blah. And it was rather than that she was looking good, she's going through a cancer, actually looking really, really well. Every single comment was wig, 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 everywhere you look. And it was making it a negative thing. And to put it into context, when was it Jada Pinkett Smith? When she was laughed at for having alopecia, and she was basically in a room full of people on the TV for millions, and she was singled out and laughed at. I was always kicking myself for never speaking up at that point. And I promised myself that if it ever happened again, I would speak up. So the minute I was sitting there seeing wig, 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 I just felt that fire in my belly, and I was like, no, I need to do it. So I went onto social media, sat and had my rant, and then just whipped the wig off at the end of it.
That's right, I remember that now. It was a powerful moment.
And then walking into college as well without it on. I hadn't told anybody that I was doing it. I just walked in without it on.
Were you not thinking about doing it as an art piece before that, and then just kind of like it materialised kind of thing, just manifested? It was like, okay, now's your opportunity.
It's like strike while the iron is hot.
Exactly.
And then more recently, so I've been going about now. I get really horrible comments on social media. I've done a wee experiment where I put myself on a dating app. So there's one where I've got the wig, and there's one where I've not got the wig, and the one without the wig is getting very little comments, but what comments it does get is nasty. The one with the wig gets bombarded with messages. So there's that. More recently, I went into a wig fitting, and while I was there, I was aware that there was somebody else there. So the booths that you're in, they're all private, but you can obviously hear what's going on. So I was aware that there was somebody there. When I came out and I was, at the till and getting ready to leave, I was aware of somebody poking their head round every now and again, and then going back to the booth and saying, there's only one person, you're going to have to come out. And eventually this wee head just like poked out at the side of the shelf, but then quickly went away again. And I was like, all right, okay. But our friend again, you need to come out, you need to come out. And eventually they came round. And it turns out they were there for their first wig fitting. And it was a young person, so a young girl. She looked absolutely beautiful. And I really wanted to be able to tell her that, but I was picking up on how she was feeling.
Yeah.
And my head went straight. So I smiled at her, but my head went straight back down and carried on with what I was doing.
Yeah.
And it really ate me up, because that place is a safe place. Everybody in there is either wearing a wig, in for a wig, or they're trained on.
Appears to help you. Yeah, support you.
Yeah. And this poor girl, she was just hiding behind a shelf. And I thought, again, this is a societal thing. Society is saying that wearing a wig is wrong and that she needs to hide. But what got me more than that was the fact that I know full well that the minute she leaves that shop, she's not in a safe place. And she's going to get everything that I've had the past 15 years. And I thought, that's not on. What else can I do to put my voice out there and use my platform to change that for people moving forward? Because it's not right. In this day and age where you're allowed to change everything else. I mean, I think I said in one of my posts as well, I'm sitting with eyelash extensions on, but nobody walks up and points and laughs and, oh my God, she's wearing eyelash extensions. They don't do it with hair extensions. They don't do it, when you're changing your hair colour. Society makes all of that acceptable. So, for example, you go in for hair extensions, you come out feeling fabulous. Oh, wow, you can't do that with a wig. That's shameful. You go in and you come out with a wig and
you maybe feel a bit better. There's a duality to it, I suppose.
Yeah. So that really, really peed me off. And I took to my channel again, and it was a case of, right, what can I do to change this, because I'm running out of options here. I've used my voice, I've used my platform, I've de-wigged myself, I've then put it back on. What else can I do to make it acceptable and to make people realise as well, how judgmental and how ugly they're being. And that was something that I said as well. I had the wig on and it was like, I can change my appearance in a matter of seconds. But it's far harder to take a look at your own behaviour and say, this is ugly, and fix that. So yeah, that's a mission I'm on just now.
I love what you said about I took to my channel, because do you feel as well when you are expressing yourself that way, and when you are in that kind of, maybe not just high dudgeon, but when you are in that, like, you've got that fire in your belly, do you feel that you are actually channeling a wee bit? I'm getting a yes as I'm asking that question. But is that something you've ever thought about or considered?
Yeah, because previously, so before I did the flip the script and everything with yourself, I would never have done that. I would rant about it to people that I knew, but I would never take to social media and have a full-blown rant, flip my wig off, and I would never have done that. I would have wanted to, but I wouldn't have had the guts basically to do it. And I don't go on now and think, I can't post this. I'll do it. Even if there's mistakes in it, it's still getting posted, because it's a case of, well, that's me. That's how it came out. And I think when I done the one taking the wig off, one of my intentions was that I had set up the social media page, and I wanted it to take off, and it ended up with 25,000 views on the page over the course of, I think it was a month or two. And since I went back on and done my rant about, this girl getting her first wig, that jumped up to 5,000 views. So people are looking.
Even like say that auntie that you mentioned earlier on, like that she's working through you as well, or that kind of that sort of support as well to help you voice that and to.
Oh my goodness. I've just had a revelation, Gwen.
Wow.
That same auntie went through chemo, and the first time that she went, so she had cancer for 10 years, and initially she went about without her wig.
Oh wow, that's obviously why I would probably need to ask you about that.
Yep, that just came into my mind. she done it for about a month, 2
Yeah.
months, went about without the wig. And then
Yeah.
the second time she was getting chemo, she turned around and went, "Oh my God, I can't believe I went about like that."
Right. Right.
So the second time she wore headscarves.
Yeah. And when would that have been, like the 70s, 80s or something, or 80s, I suppose?
So no, so she had cancer the first time round in the early to mid 2000s.
Right, right, right.
And then
I'm thinking of my age. Apologies, I'm going way back.
so yeah, that just sprung to mind when you were saying that there. That's
Yeah,
something he did as well. So
yeah. There's no coincidence
yeah.
that made me ask that, But yeah, that's amazing. And so, we've talked a lot about all of your beliefs and values and everything, your identity really when you're in that mission mode, etc. And how would you say that, as well as to the individuals that you're helping, and you've got your channel, as you say, for your projects, and that, how would you say that contributes to other people that perhaps you don't know, or to something bigger than you? I feel like to a wider purpose.
Yeah, I think, well, I hope that it gives them a bit of a voice and a bit of a sense of empowerment, really. Like when they are looking and seeing
You
that.
said hope's the operative word, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. And I know, so when I did the one about domestic abuse,
Mm.
I had somebody reach out that I didn't even know, and they said to me, thank you for sharing that, because that's something that I've lived through, and seeing it on the screen has made me realise how far I've come.
Excellent.
Because in the past, seeing that would have triggered me, but I actually feel really empowered.
Yeah,
And
it was the opposite effect.
yeah, yeah. And that's what I was hoping. That's the impact that I wanted to have. And it ended up getting borrowed as well by Women's Aid to be put on
Oh,
display at Women's Aid. So yeah, I just really want to.
ripple effect, then, isn't it? Than you could have
Yeah,
ever imagined.
yeah, and I think one of the things that I've got an issue with is like the sense of justice and fairness.
Yes.
So if I see something that I don't think is right, or that goes against rules, if you like,
Yeah, your values and beliefs.
yeah, yeah, then it's not something that I'll back down on. And it's not that I don't care if it offends somebody.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of my artwork, what I've said in the past is, I'm only responsible for the artwork that I produce. I
Yeah,
can't be responsible for somebody's reaction to it.
of
But
course.
if
Yeah,
somebody is offended by it, they've got to ask themselves, well, why did that offend me?
yeah, yeah,
Um, as soon as I've made the artwork and it's out there, that's it. It's not mine anymore. And
yeah, yeah.
people take it.
Their reaction or their response is theirs to look at. In the same way that ours is, like we talked about with your auntie, and then you'll be able to turn that round.
Yeah,
Now, we've got to get to a certain point within ourselves to be able to do that, I guess, and not everybody has the tools or the will to do that kind of thing. But
yeah,
yeah, as you say, it's not that you're disowning it, but it's not yours to own. And I think that's been a powerful
yeah.
shift for you as well. That
Oh God, yeah,
we can be empathetic, and we can,
yeah,
we can be kind, and we can be purposeful and well-meaning, and all the rest of it.
mhm,
But can they do everybody else's work for them? I
yeah,
think.
yeah. And I think that was something that we had discussed. I can't remember if it was via the WhatsApp voice
It was quite
notes.
early on, yeah,
It
yeah.
was, that I recognised that. I think the way that I phrased it was that I was wearing everybody else's jackets all at once,
Yeah, yeah,
and I was feeling so bogged down and so
yeah,
heavy. And it was like, well, why am I wearing this jacket? That's not mine, right? That one can go. And by the time you look at everything that you're carrying and realise, well, that's mine, that's not. And it made me realise as well that my energy just gets completely sapped,
yeah,
because I take on everybody's problems. I want to fix everybody's problems.
yeah,
I can walk into a room and pick up on the energy right away, and that then
yeah,
has an impact. And it's like, well, that's not mine, that's not mine.
yeah.
And it helped me put boundaries in place. And
Yeah, you've got to have those, and it's like
yeah,
emotional and energetic boundaries as well, isn't it?
yeah,
Because we talk about boundaries, and often that's like, oh, well, I'm not texting you back, or I'm not doing this or that. But actually,
yeah,
it's much more than that. And like when you talk about empowerment as well, that's the thing, because even as a mum, or as a friend, or a coach, whatever, we often have that need to, oh, I need to do this for that person, and help them. And
yeah,
yes, we can be a mirror, or you can be that person to shine that light for them, as you say, for them to have that reaction and say, oh well, what's that offering you to look at within you? But it's not for you to try and do it for them, because actually that's disempowering when we try to fix things for everybody else, and they we then get stuck in the drama triangle of you're in the rescuer mode, they're in the victim, and then you both probably go into the sort of resentment, or the kind of power, but in a negative way, or that kind of persecutor actually is the power, is the empowered, that persecutor and that sort of resentment, and that will kind of shift around the triangle, and it's not helpful for it's not nice for anybody, kind of thing. And then that can happen in relationships all the time without us realizing. But just having that awareness, like you said, of anything really like this, you've got that awareness of like, oh, I'm doing that thing again, right? Okay, consciously, whatever your kind of go-to tool is, or whatever. And sometimes it is like getting your team to give you a nudge, or giving you that sign. We're gonna use for that, give you that sign of like, right, you've overdone it now, so just step back. And what I loved, we were doing a masterclass last night, and I think in the past, my yes for this, you'd have went, oh well, I signed up to that thing, so I've got to be there no matter what. And actually, the beautiful thing was you went, oh well, I'm really tired after this. I've had an intense day of personal suffering on for you, and I'm really whacked, so I'm just going to watch the replay. And I was like, yes, because that I don't take that as like, oh, she's not going to show up. I'm like, yes, she gets it. She's got that energetic, and that's love for you first. That's what champion kind of thing. So I love that you did that, and that you made that decision of like, well, actually the best thing for me is not to keep going and be energetically drained for another couple of hours, and then be wired to the moon all night or whatever. So no, that's not in a derogatory way, because that's what happens for me when I do these things. So I teach this stuff because I need to learn it myself, and on some level I will always do that. So so sorry, I possibly distracted you from some of what you were saying, but it's really important to talk about these things as well, and to share that. These there'll be light bulb moments going off for everybody listening to this. It's 12:12 now as I'm looking at the clocks. It was 11:11, so I am going to, on a slight detour, we're going to look at the 12:12, because we've got our Kilgrey Angel Numbers book to hand that we were talking about earlier on. So let me just look up the well-thumbed section. So often people say, oh, 11:11, and we often say, oh, it's 11:11, without really consciously knowing, well, what does 11:11 mean? We know it's something good. So 11:11 says, you are one with God, angels, and ascended masters. Align your thoughts with the highest goodness and truth in order to bring love into the world. And I love that, because that's really what we've been talking about. That's what you do, whether you possibly didn't consciously go into it with that intention. And obviously we've got to look after ourselves, as we say, love for ourselves first. But by putting yourself first, prioritizing yourself, putting those boundaries in place, and doing things that are important to you, that's you putting your good out into the world and doing good for everyone, and bringing that love into the world. And then 12:12 says, you have the power to bring healing and light to the world. Notice how your intentions and actions are already doing just that. And as I'm saying that, I'm getting like the tinglies off my head, because it's like, that's exactly what we've been talking about as well, is how by you setting out intentionally to take care of yourself and do what you needed to do, you've as a really positive byproduct of that, is that positive influence and ripple effect that continues rippling on, probably way beyond what you're even consciously aware of. You're healing and bringing light to the world, because you're allowing people to heal and bring light to their own things. And like you said, to that person that reached out to you and said, I now feel more empowered by that, rather than feeling like a victim kind of thing. That's amazing.
And I think that's one of the biggest things that I've got, is that by putting the boundaries in place, and like you're saying, the love for like yourself first, that has changed so much. I'm not as much a doormat. It's a case of, no, I'm not accepting that, and that's then up to them. Do you want to change your behaviour, or do you want to go away, kind of thing? I've stepped out of a lot of drama triangles, and I'm not reacting to things the way that I normally would either. Usually, if something happened, I would be like touch paper, and it'd be like whoosh, because I was dealing with so many things, wearing so many coats, trying to get so many things done, that it's you say now it's like, well, that's no mine. So
aye, it's not my circus, not my monkeys kind
yeah,
of thing.
yeah, pretty much. So I think that's been a big shift for me, but it
Yeah,
allows me then to focus on what I want to do, what I want to achieve.
yeah,
And the one thing that I have been doing is if I think of a goal,
yeah,
I'll push it further than I think that
yeah,
I'm aiming for, so that
yeah,
when I get there, it's even better. Just constantly raising the bar, and yeah,
yeah. And
and
that's called sort of deliberate creation or segment intending of like this next segment of my life. And this is, we're into the Firehorse momentum now. Thank goodness
yeah,
the year of the snake is finally over. We've done a lot of shedding and it's been powerful. Could be a whole nother episode. But we've done with that. But it's like you say, now you've got that momentum. Now you've literally got the ball rolling in the bit between your teeth, kind of thing for the horse analogy. And you're harnessing that. And pardon me, you're going with that on on a whole another level.
yeah.
Is there anything else that with that you would want to kind of leave us with about what is your next goal, or what is your, and that can be like a personal thing. It doesn't have to be to do with your, the art or that kind of mission.
Yeah.
But what is your goal, or what is like the I'm actually going to go big because you said you like to go big. What's the legacy you want to leave, Marie?
I think one of the things that we did the day immersive,
Yes.
and I had said at that one that I want my art to be around long after I'm gone.
Yeah.
We actually did a digital piece recently. Literally, I just submitted it 2 days ago.
Oh wow.
And it was what's your goal, or who inspires you? And I basically said that anybody who challenges society by poking bears and rattling cages inspires me, and who calls for change. So I think, yeah, I'm gonna dream big. So yeah, I'm here to change things, change society, change opinions. And one of the things that you had said as well, and I think it was just a passing comment, but it was about winning a prize.
Oh,
I think was it the Turner Prize you said, or something.
well,
Um,
probably. I see a lot of these things. It's like, and sometimes it's me, and sometimes it's just like I'm channeling it. So I don't
yeah,
know.
we'll fling that in there as well. We'll fling one of them in there as well. So yeah, we'll
Why not?
make a name for challenging society.
Yeah, yeah.
Art. Yeah,
And like you say, being that, that role model and that kind of archetype for other people of like, well, if she can do it, I can do it, which that's really what you want, whether that's about wearing the wig or whether that's about, making art or anything else kind of thing. And that's, I'm guessing that's what you want for your boys as well, that.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
A better place. Like not house-wise, but like a societal place. Yeah. And I did put a wee call out for people to shave their heads as well, but nobody's took me up on that yet. So
I guess it's like, as you say, everybody's got their own cross to bear, or whatever, their own thing that would be their version of, the brave thing, the courageous act sort of thing.
Yeah.
And you didn't even really know you were going to do it until you did it as well. So it's everybody, as I say, as, and I think we've expressed this a few times, really, as people pleasers and overgivers and everything that we've described how you were before and how we still can be, like, because we don't wave a magic wand and it's all unicorns and rainbows kind of thing. Sometimes we're like, all right, well, I've clearly overdone it because I'm, like I say, was away caffeine, had a busy night, sometimes that's in a positive way. Like, we recognise now that sometimes that is like guidance coming through. It's like, well, you literally don't make any space for us to speak to you, to get through to you during the day. So we've got to do it at 4:44 in the morning or whatever. I'm like, okay, fair dues. And sometimes that, we can laugh about that now. Is it like, I think that's a transformative thing as well, of like even having our journal and things like that, because we can recognise our own rhythm and we can recognise, okay, well, here was all the things I digested, which was great. Actually, that's why I need to rest today, or why I've got no brain power today, or why, I just haven't not got the will to live. That's the wrong thing. Sometimes we say those kind of things, but it's actually just because we've drained ourselves completely.
Yeah.
Whether that's because we've been so enthused and up all night creating a project or whatever, but you've got to realize we can't do that every day. So it's like rather than kind of riding that rhythm and then making yourself ill in your circumstances because you have a reactive, you get ups and things like that. Now that you've recognised your own rhythm and you can honour yourself within that, I want to say that's been another like really positive outcome as well. That again, we had no idea going into it that's what was going to come out of that. And I'm saying we because I've done that for myself as well, and that's what's allowed me to take a bit of a step back and take more space for myself sometimes of going, actually no, because there was a bit of me, and still is at times, of like that, the perfectionist shows up in many guys, or the old conditioning of like, well, I worked in corporate for 37 years before I came into this type of work, and that's always a problem, but there's still a bit of me sometimes is that in that kind of 9 to 5 must be productive, must meet my KPIs and my objectives and kind of improve it. And I was like, I've not got a boss in that kind of way anymore. But we still go into that mode of that kind of proving ourselves worthy sort of thing. And then it's actually like, oh, well, is it true and important? Is that love for me first to do that? Is that benefiting anybody else? Or am I me burning myself out? Isn't it going to help, say you with your boys, you being like that doesn't help you be better for them, and it's not a good example for them ever. So I feel like I'm going on my soapbox there, but so sometimes it's those things as well that are just as powerful, just as meaningful and life changing as the big revelations or the kind of the spiritual connection is great, and that's what I'm here for. I'm a soul purpose activator, an empowerment coach, and I live for that, but also I live for those moments, like as I say last night when you went, I'm not coming to class tonight going because I'm taking care of myself. You were giving a big high five to that as well. So yeah, I think we could talk all day, but I think that's probably a good place to leave it for now. But maybe we'll come back in another episode in another 6 months or so and see where we're at.
Definitely. No, but thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. So I will, afterwards, we've talked about a few things here, so I'll share some links afterwards in the comments, and when I post, you'll be watching this on YouTube. So when you're watching this, and you might be watching it on Marie's Instagram channel as well, or something else on her social media. So we'll share all the ways that you can connect with us or follow us, or find our different resources and things like that. And please do share as well. So if you're watching this, whether you're in my audience or whether you're in Marie's audience, which is growing globally, I'm sure, and if anything has struck a chord with you and ignited something within you, and you think, oh, I know somebody else who should hear this, that's my team getting excited and I start mangling my words. But if you know somebody else who would benefit from hearing this message, or something in this is just really hit your heart kind of thing, or maybe being emotional for you, take that as a gift, take that as a release, and take that as something really special for you, and do comment and let us know, or message either of us and let us know what courageous thing you're doing off the back of this, or what mission you feel inspired to go forward with through hearing Marie's story, and what's your journey from protection to power, because maybe it starts today, whenever that is, because whether that's now in February 2026 or whether that's at some point in the future, you'll always find this exactly when you need to find it, and when it needs to find you. And my team are giving me a yes for that. So that's a pretty good place to leave it, and would love to hear from you and share your story. And so yeah, take care, and we'll see you again on the Flip the Script podcast.
Thank you.
Yeah.